Hey everyone, my name is Forrest, and this is the first video for the Geek's Guide to Enough, and I thought I would kick it off by going a little bit into my financial upbringing, and at what point in time caused me to understand that I need to understand money better. So to start off, growing up, my parents were not rich, not even close, and it wasn't because they were doing everything wrong, they weren't perfect, like, everyone else. In their first year together, they actually couldn't even afford a Christmas tree, so they had to settle for a Christmas bush. And during the 2008 recession, my dad was one of the people who lost his job, and me and my brothers had to get our expectations lowered when it came to that coming Christmas. We did end up getting less than we usually did every year, and that was one of many consequences during that time while my dad was trying to figure out the next move. Only just recently did I learn that my parents were on food stamps during that time too, which is really interesting because it's just something I didn't know, when I was 13 years old and stupid. I don't remember my parents ever saying that they were financially comfortable, not once. In fact, I only remember finances being an issue. I think when we were kids, that's what we tend to remember the most, is whenever finances were a problem, not a source of comfort. I want this to be a place where you can feel comfortable sharing stories of your own financial struggles growing up and the sacrifices that your parents had to make in order for certain things in your guys' lives to thrive. If there is a such story, you can share that in the comment section below. I would be really happy to hear it. If you feel guilty because it took you a long time to understand money, don't. At 21, I was calling my bank asking them how much was in my checking account because 21-year-old me didn't understand yet the concept of a banking app. The amount that they told me made me not feel good things. And that's a shame because I really wanted that Subway pizza. My understanding of money came way later in life, and not for lack of trying on my dad's part. He did try. He gave me 2 books to read, 2 finance books. The first one being Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, and the second being I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. And he had a quiz built up and everything, so that after I finished reading the books, I'd take the quiz, and if I got every question right, he would give me $100. I got 30. That's when my dad realized that he wasn't going to be able to force me to care about finances, which leads me to one of my major points. Information alone doesn't create change. You can do all the research in the world, you can read books, you can, dig into all these things about finances, but if you don't actually apply any of that to your life, then reading up on all of it makes no difference. And that can go for anything that you do research on, any knowledge, any topic. If you don't apply any of it to your life, then it doesn't mean anything to read up on all of it. All it really allows you to do is kind of flex on your friends and show off how impressive you are that you know this thing. Another major point that I want to make is that most of us don't care about something until life gives us a reason to. We need to start caring before those reasons come for us, and that's one of my goals in this channel, is to help you learn to grow and care about the things that need to be taken care of, so that when an emergency comes up or a reason comes up where you need to care, or it's like a life or death situation, you won't be caught off guard with your pants down. For me, the reason to care about managing money showed up in 2022 when inflation exploded to a whopping 9%. That's when something finally clicked. I even told my dad as much at the time. Suddenly, saving money mattered. Budgeting made a lot more sense, and having a fully funded emergency fund sounded less dramatic and started sounding necessary, even mandatory. My wife and I made changes, but even then, I was still doing some things wrong. Growth doesn't happen overnight, except maybe in my stomach at Buffalo Wild Wings. And most importantly, peace of mind doesn't happen overnight either. Good financial decisions don't create instant relief. They create slow, quiet stability. When we change something in our lives in pursuit of peace of mind, it's discouraging when the results don't show up right away. But changing a fundamental part of our life is and always will be a slog. Heck, working on this YouTube channel has been a slog. A very, very long slog. We want everything immediately, and we live in a world that promises instant results everywhere, except for the places where they actually matter. True growth, true joy, true peace, which is probably why Chipotle doesn't hit like it used to. The actions that we take are simple and doable. The timeline, on the other hand, is not simple, and we wish it was. As you join me on this journey towards simple living and financial peace, I want you to know this. The steps to apply what you'll learn here are quick and doable, but the results take time. That might sound discouraging at first, but let's be honest. Most of us are at the end of our rope at this point. I don't know if you've been opening up TikTok lately, but there's a lot of people who are not happy with their current situation. And it's easy to point fingers and it's easy to blame others, but the truth is we need to take control of our own destiny at this point, and we need to make the choices and the sacrifices necessary if we're going to live a happy, peaceful life. We want to have the feeling of control over our lives again, and that is possible. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.